Sexual assault has been a topic in the news lately, and even in our newscast today. And we have behavioral therapist Martin Calder here to tell us how we can educate our kids on this topic.
Right. Yeah, it was very apropos that Elizabeth Smart be in town during this time, and I think it really puts to the forefront how pervasive sexual assault is. We've seen a lot of things in the news about powerful men abusing women as adults, and so it's an epidemic going on, really.
Yeah, and even with adults, but in kids it happens too. So how do you, I guess, help prevent it or educate your kids?
So one of the big statistics, and a lot of people kind of forget about this with the Elizabeth Smart case, is that most times of sexual abuse, the perpetrator is somebody the child knows and trusts. Family friend, family themselves, above 90%. And so that's one of the things, is to realize that while you need to protect your kids and talk about stranger danger and, you know, that sort of van down cruising your street, it's probably going to be somebody that you know and the child knows very well and trusts, hence why the sexual abuse happens.
And you can tell kids, you know, don't talk to strangers and things like that, but how do you educate them with that, with people they know? Right.
So one of the things is to really, from an early age, talk about how children's bodies are their own possession, so that they don't have to have an unwanted hug. Just because somebody, you know, aunt they haven't seen for 20 years, or an uncle or whatever that they haven't seen in their whole life, meets them, just doesn't mean they get to have a hug. They need to establish the relationship and trust. And so those kind of things that make sure that they are empowered with their own body.
Okay,
sure.
That makes sense. And then do you want to talk to these kids, obviously, before something happens? When's the right time? You
know, for sure, when kids are able to, you know, understand and interact, you know, as young as 2 or 3, 4 years old, as far as their body being, you know, their own, and good touch and bad touch. And then really as they get progressively older, you don't want to put it off too long. Kids are much more savvy than parents give them credit for sometimes, and that doesn't mean going into every aspect of sexuality, but that does mean talking pretty frankly, especially as they approach teenage, about what's really going to happen in their lives. I mean, Elizabeth Smart's been really good about being honest and upfront and truthful is the biggest part. And the other last thing is always making sure that they can come and talk to you, and that nothing is out of bounds for them to talk to you.
Well, that's great information. Thank you so much for coming on.
You bet.
And still to come this morning, we take a look at your KPVI News Today headlines.